In recent months, significant policy proposals emerging from the highest levels of U.S. government have ignited debate among citizens and global investors alike. Central to this discussion is a new travel ban proposal that could fundamentally alter the landscape of dual citizenship and second citizenship by investment. With profound implications for national security, international mobility, and personal freedom, this report delves into the nuances of the proposed restrictions, examining how they may affect individuals who rely on multiple citizenships as a safeguard against geopolitical and economic uncertainties. Overview of the proposed travel ban. At the heart of this policy shift is a multifaceted travel ban that categorizes affected nations into three distinct groups. The proposal outlines a tiered system. The highest risk group, designated as red, would see a complete prohibition on travel to the United States. Countries falling into this category include Afghanistan, Iran, Yemen, and several others, with some selections prompting particular scrutiny due to their limited populations or perceived stability, such as Bhutan and Venezuela. The red designation suggests an uncompromising approach that could abruptly restrict access for citizens of these nations, raising immediate concerns for those who have long considered alternative citizenships as an insurance policy against political and economic instability. The next category, labeled orange, introduces sharply restricted visa access. Nations such as Belarus, Eritrea, Haiti, Myanmar, Pakistan, Russia, and others find themselves grouped here. For many individuals who have obtained or plan to obtain citizenship by investment in these regions, the implications are significant. This category indicates a future where new visa applications might face steep hurdles, altering the once straightforward process of acquiring U.S. entry permissions. Finally, the yellow category targets a broader range of countries, many of which are known for their citizenship by investment programs. Under this designation, affected countries are given a 60-day period to address U.S. concerns regarding passport security and data sharing practices. Notable among these are nations that offer attractive investment citizenship options, such as certain Caribbean states, Angola, Cameroon, and Equatorial Guinea. For investors and global citizens who depend on these programs as a means of diversifying their residency and travel privileges, the 60-day window presents both an opportunity for reform and a looming risk of being reclassified under a stricter category if deficiencies are not remedied. Implications for second citizenship and investment programs. For decades, the notion of holding a second citizenship has been framed as a hedge against uncertainty, a safeguard against political shifts, economic downturns, and unforeseen changes in global mobility. The recent U.S. travel ban proposal, however, threatens to disrupt this established paradigm. Countries offering citizenship by investment, especially within the Caribbean region, have long been a favorite option for those seeking greater travel freedom. Programs in nations such as Street Kitts, St. Lucia, Dominica, and Antigua and Barbuda have provided a pathway to obtaining an additional passport, often with the dual benefits of favorable tax regimes and a pathway to visa-free travel. Yet, under the new proposal, these programs are under scrutiny. The U.S. administration appears intent on compelling stricter adherence to security standards and data transparency from participating nations. Grenada, for instance, has traditionally maintained a unique relationship with the United States through its E-2 visa program, a benefit that has bolstered its appeal among global investors. Notably, Grenada's omission from the proposed ban list underscores the delicate balance these programs must now navigate between remaining attractive to foreign investors and meeting enhanced security criteria. The ramifications extend beyond the Caribbean. For citizens from nations like Venezuela, Angola, and Afghanistan who rely on citizenship by investment as a secondary passport, a reclassification into a higher-risk category could translate into an immediate curtailment of their mobility. These changes are not merely administrative, they strike at the core of why many pursue alternative citizenship in the first place, to secure an unencumbered ability to travel, invest, and engage with a global economy. Impact on U.S. visa and green card holders. The proposed travel restrictions carry equally profound consequences for individuals already residing in the United States on green cards or long-term visas. For many, the green card represents a long-sought status that ostensibly guarantees permanence. However, the new policy proposals suggest that this perception of permanence may be misleading. The criteria for maintaining or renewing visas under the new framework could become more stringent, particularly for those who have obtained residency through dual citizenship routes. There is a growing consensus among experts that green card holders might face increased uncertainty, especially as the U.S. government reassesses the security protocols associated with issuing visas. Historical precedents hint that existing visa holders may be able to retain their current status, yet, for new applicants from the targeted countries, the path forward could be fraught with additional bureaucratic obstacles. Moreover, individuals who are dual citizens may find themselves in an ambiguous situation where their non-U.S. citizenship could, paradoxically, become a liability rather than an asset, especially if that secondary passport originates from one of the scrutinized nations. Broader implications on U.S. citizenship and travel programs. Beyond the immediate impact on investors and visa applicants, the travel ban proposal signals a broader shift in U.S. immigration policy, one that reverberates through trusted traveler programs and the Electronic System for Travel Authorization, ESTA. Traditionally, these programs have served as a streamlined mechanism for ensuring that travelers from allied countries can enter the United States with relative ease. However, recent changes indicate that even citizens from traditionally favored nations might find themselves subject to additional questioning and scrutiny if they have traveled to certain banned or flagged countries in the past. For example, restrictions related to travel history are not entirely new. Instances where individuals have visited nations like Iran or Cuba have previously resulted in the revocation of ESTA privileges, forcing travelers to navigate the more time-consuming visa application process. Now, as the U.S. expands its list of flagged destinations, even citizens of countries with established visa-free access could be impacted. This raises critical questions about the balance between national security imperatives and the long-standing American tradition of openness to international visitors. The ripple effects of these changes extend into the realm of international relations. As the United States tightens its travel restrictions, allied nations may need to reassess their own immigration policies and bilateral agreements with the U.S. In doing so, they confront the challenge of maintaining the delicate equilibrium between safeguarding national security and preserving the freedom of movement that underpins modern global citizenship. The debate on national security, sovereignty, and personal freedom. At its core, the debate over the new travel ban is one of competing priorities: national security versus personal freedom. Proponents of the policy argue that in an era marked by global terrorism, transnational crime, and evolving geopolitical threats, stringent measures are necessary to protect the nation. They contend that tighter controls on passport security and visa issuance are essential for preventing fraudulent activities and ensuring that all travelers meet rigorous standards. Critics, however, warn that the expanded restrictions may erode individual liberties and undermine the fundamental principle that the United States has long championed: the free movement of people. For many global citizens, second citizenship is not merely a financial or administrative tool, it is a lifeline, a means to secure personal autonomy in an increasingly unpredictable world. The emerging narrative suggests that if the U.S. continues on its current course, it may inadvertently curtail the very freedoms it purports to protect. The policy debate also touches on broader themes of sovereignty and state control. By enforcing stricter criteria on second citizenship and travel, the U.S. government is asserting its influence over not just its own borders, but over the international systems that facilitate global mobility. In doing so, it challenges other nations to elevate their own security and transparency standards, potentially reshaping the global framework for citizenship and travel. Recommendations and conclusions. For individuals contemplating the pursuit of a second citizenship, these developments present both challenges and opportunities. The uncertainty introduced by the new U.S. travel ban calls for a reassessment of long-held assumptions about the benefits of dual citizenship. Prospective investors and global citizens must now weigh the advantages of enhanced mobility against the risk of being caught in a regulatory crossfire. One strategic response is to pursue citizenship in nations that have maintained robust and secure passport programs, thereby minimizing the risk of reclassification under the new U.S. criteria. For example, investing in countries that already demonstrate a high level of transparency and security in their passport issuance processes may offer a more stable path to global mobility. Alternatively, for those with the means, pursuing naturalization in a country that is not subject to these emerging restrictions could provide long-term security and freedom. For current U.S. green card holders and dual citizens, the imperative is to stay informed and proactive. Consulting with legal experts and immigration advisors to understand the full scope of the proposed changes can help individuals make timely decisions, whether that involves applying for naturalization, transferring residency, or diversifying one's citizenship portfolio. In an era where policy shifts can occur rapidly, being prepared and adaptable is essential. Ultimately, the unfolding scenario underscores a critical juncture in the evolution of global citizenship. The U.S. travel ban proposal is not an isolated policy adjustment, but part of a broader recalibration of how nations balance security with freedom. As governments around the world grapple with these challenges, individuals must navigate a complex web of regulatory changes, economic considerations, and personal values. The future of second citizenship, and indeed the very notion of global mobility, hangs in the balance. In conclusion, while the U.S. administration's proposals may represent a significant departure from traditional immigration practices, they also serve as a catalyst for a wider conversation about the role of citizenship in a globalized world. As policymakers seek to secure national borders in an age of uncertainty, global citizens must decide whether to adapt, diversify, or consolidate their personal allegiances. The path forward is fraught with challenges, yet it also offers the potential for a more robust and resilient framework of international mobility, one that respects both the imperatives of national security and the enduring human desire for freedom.